You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about believing. I love that word because I really believe a lot of times we have to have faith, or we have to know that we are capable of getting through hard times, that our dreams can be achieved. And so that all starts with believing from the inside out. So we're going to be talking about that today. Also, in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Michael Multhan, who's going to talk about his addiction to both alcohol and drugs, but yet his belief in God and himself was able to get him through that. And it's a really twisty, turny journey. So stay with us on that one. Also, over the course of the show, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, that number is 800-3001. Feel free to call in because I'll be standing by, whatever I can do to give you that edge of motivation or advice, to help you overcome a hurdle. I really want to. That's the whole purpose of the show, is that we want you to live full out and really enjoy life. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
My name is Sherika. Yeah, and I just have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So, I moved from a small island to a big city now, and there's just a lot of things happening in the big city, and I'm just wondering, how I can get over my fear of, not feeling like I'm enough to make it here, or like, that I can make a difference here.
I love that you're asking this question, right? There was a time that I grew up in a really, really small town, age 10 and before, and now I live in, Los Angeles, Orange County, right? It's a big city. Now, what you have to remember is that, are you a different person back where you grew up versus now? Are you the same person?
Well, the same person.
Right? You're the same person, right? So that has not changed, even though your location has changed. Now, that's the best thing, right? That's good. That's good news, right? Now, the bad news is that in a big city, there's a lot more people, maybe more competition, maybe opportunities that can get snagged if you don't move quickly.
Yeah.
But do you see the key word there is maybe? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So what you want to think about is not that you're a small fish in a big pond, but that you're the same size fish, whether you're in your small town where you grew up in or this big city that you're currently in. It's really not about the location. It's about identifying what makes you unique and different. So tell me one attribute, one positive thing about yourself.
Well, I think I'm pretty friendly, so I meet people fairly easily.
Okay. Now, in this dream, goals, career, life ambitions that you have, do you think being a friendly person is a good resource, a good attribute?
Definitely.
Okay. And what's one more skill or talent that you have that you're good at?
I think I'm always excited to learn new things and for new opportunities.
Okay, so now you're excited to learn and do new things. Now, we could play this game for an hour, right? I could come up with a list of 20 things that you're good at that make you unique and different and special. Now, what I want you to do post this call with me today is I want you to make that list. So when you're out there in that big city, it's not about how many people are in that city. It's the fact that there's just one you. And all those skills, all those traits, all those attributes that are unique to you, you want to turn them up, let them shine. You be the most excited person to try on new things. You be the most friendly person in meeting new people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But whether it be a small town or a big city, you have signature you traits that nobody can take that from you. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So go make that list and then turn it up. Let those shine. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. I believe in you. You just have to believe in you. Okay? Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Bye.
Love that she reached out to me about that question, right? Sometimes we have to be reminded, gosh, what makes me different than all these hundreds of other people applying for the same job? Or, gosh, I'm doing online dating and there's all these other women or men out there. Why would somebody choose me? It's really about getting centered on what makes you special and then really believe in that, not just have it be a list on paper or words that are exchanged between yourself and someone else, but really believe in it. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, I was just wondering, how can I prepare myself to take a new step in life to live on my own and be comfortable about it?
Ooh, I love that. Because it can be scary, right? To go out there on your own. So are you, well, that, but here's the thing. It can be scary and exciting at the same time. So now this new leap that you're doing, were you currently living like at home and now you're moving out on your own, like your own place, or will you have roommates?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I was living with my family and now I'll be living in an apartment on my own.
On your own. So what happens when you're on your own? You get to decorate it however you want. And if you want to leave a shirt on the floor, you can. And if you decide you want to wait an extra 2 hours to clean that dish, you can. And when you want to sleep, there's no noise. It can be as quiet as you want or as loud as you want. So what I'm getting at is when we have a safety zone of growing up at home or hanging out with the same friends, it can be scary to make that leap. But the exciting thing is the growth that is going to come from you having your own space is just, it's going to be so measurable that you can't even anticipate it yet. And so what is the one thing that scares you the most?
I think just being alone all the time.
Okay. And that's very real, right? Because you don't have those people to eat with, or, when you get home, no one's there to greet you, right? So how do you fill up the lonely space? Well, first of all, you find your go-tos. Like for me, and I've lived on my own quite a bit, over the years, and so I can appreciate your question on this. The thing is, you want to have your favorite TV shows at times when you might be lonely. Like if you're someone who maybe goes to sleep and you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, I'm lonely. Have a go-to show or something you can pop in. Or a lot of times I will listen to, shows or music on my iPhone, just to kind of fill up the space. Because what makes lonely is that we don't have something grabbing our attention. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to call somebody. What I have learned over the years is that you're not the only person who lives alone. You're not the only person who has that thoughts. And a lot of times, another friend who lives on their own may be going through that same cycle. So, feel free to send text messages out to people and say, hi, how you doing? Thinking of you. I'm so proud of you. Those people will text back. You have this chitter chatter. All of a sudden, you're not lonely. It's just filling the space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm excited for you. I really am. And
Thank you.
Just believe in the fact that this is the perfect step. It's the right time, and this is the next stage of your life. Okay?
Thank you so much. I'll definitely try that.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much.
The thing that's so important about both of our callers that we just had actually is that to believe in ourselves, sometimes that's hard because we play that what if game. Gosh, what if I move out and I can't pay my bills? What if I move to that new city and I don't make any friends? What if I quit my job and I can't find something else? I'm here to tell you today that the what if game is going to drive you bonkers, okay? Because the thing is those are false realities. They haven't happened. So fear stands for false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's in your mind. What is real is the tangible of what you can do. So just with that last caller, she can fill the lonely space with music, with TV, She can text somebody and have a dialogue. Phone, text, you name it. So go into the direction of what is real, what is tangible, and just tell those fears and anxieties they have no place in your mind. And that you have to remember to always believe in yourself. That is a large part of what it means to live full out. So stay with us, because in our next segment, we're going to have Michael Mulfan sharing his story of how he got through abuse, stress, alcohol, drug addiction, you name it. He found his faith and he believed in himself to get to the other side. It's going to be an incredible story. You don't want to miss it. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. It's all about believing in yourself today.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about believing in yourself, believing in other people, having faith that, letting life unfold and knowing that things will just work out as they should. Our inspirational guest today really had to hold into his belief factor over the years. And it really ultimately is what got him through years of alcohol and drug addiction. And I'm not going to give his whole story away because there's a lot to unpack, but I'd like to welcome Michael Molthan to the show. Hello, Michael.
How are you? Good to talk to you.
Well, good talking to you. Wow, we have so much to get through. So I want to jump in to when you were 10 years old. Okay. Now, at 10 years old, you were dealing with, stress at home in terms of various forms of abuse. But you also had this rather innocent moment with your dad where, hey, son, you want a sip of my beer? I mean, what boy to man has not had that experience, right? You got to start somewhere. But when you took that sip of your first beer, you had an amazing reaction to it. Can you share that with us?
I did. When I share my story, I always start out by saying, I am a recovering drug addict alcoholic, and I drank alcohol and I did drugs because of the effect. That's why I did it. I processed alcohol differently, and I processed narcotics differently. And when I took that very first drink of alcohol, I remember the day. I remember the way the lawnmower was facing. I remember how many clouds were in the sky. I remember the temperature. I remember every detail about it because to me, something happened. There was a false spiritual awakening that took place when I took that sip of alcohol because my stomach relaxed. It was like icing on a cake, and I just felt different. And for some reason, for so long, I chased that very first drink all the way into the penitentiary.
Well, I want to kind of take our audience along because after you took that first drink, rather than grabbing a Dr. Pepper, you might grab a beer, but it wasn't like you were getting hammered any day, but you definitely found that you became more powerful within your powerless life that you were living. And I know that it was really around, 10th grade that you started to dibble-dabble into not just beer, but hard alcohol and then even further drugs. And was it because
that's correct.
You weren't getting, was it because the alcohol wasn't enough? Was the pain, it's kind of like if you have a drink, the pain gets louder and louder. Is that why you went to drugs?
That's correct. I mean, I wanted more. As an addict, we just want more. Because, I was chasing visible things to fix my invisible problems. And I realized that today, but I didn't know it then. And, when I would start feeling, I didn't want to feel that. So I would use chemicals to literally take me out of the future and take me out of the past. And alcohol and drugs would lie to me and give me that feeling of living in the now. And it gave me that brief feeling for just a half a second. So I would do more drugs and more alcohol to chase that half a second. And we call it numbing. We call it changing the way we feel. We call it taking the edge off. Whatever we call it, that's what alcohol and drugs would do to me. And I would literally, I was never in fear of overdosing. I was always in fear of underdosing. So that's the mind of an alcoholic and a drug addict, is that we don't want to come down.
Well, and I'm curious, before we get into your later years and how all that unfold, being, 10 years old, escalating to drugs in 10th grade, was nobody around to pull you back? I mean, I know you started to get arrested and, you started to get tickets for drinking and driving. And, was there nobody in your life, a teacher, a relative, a friend that said, hey, listen, what are you doing?
No, not
Michael,
really, because what happens is that this disease is so cunning and baffling and powerful, and everybody was in denial. It's like, my kid can't be this way, because, in our early stages of addiction, I appear to be normal. It's kind of like, wow, this guy's, got some energy and all that stuff. And my life wasn't reckless and unmanageable at the time. I really thought that I was fitting in. I was like going, okay, this is the way life is supposed to be. I would hear people, say, tell stories about alcoholism and drug addiction. And I always knew I was different. I want to emphasize that. At a young age, I knew something was different with me. I just knew something was different, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Alcohol and drugs made me feel like I was a part of. But to answer your question, at a young age, no, there wasn't any intervention. But I think there was a lot of denial involved in my young age.
Now, as you went along, you did get married, but eventually you did decide to go to Betty Ford, and you did decide to seek help for the first time. Was it just because you had hit the end of your rope, or what finally got you to engage in your first rehab?
Well, that's when I really wanted to, when I had the birth of my two boys, I knew something was out there bigger than me. And, I never wanted to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. I wanted to be what was called a normal person. And so I was willing to, after a really bad run of alcohol and drugs and hiding and lying, my wife at the time called me out. And I was willing to go to any length I could to try to get well. I went to Betty Ford, and I experienced, admitting that I was powerless over alcohol, that my life was unmanageable, and I also came to believe there's a power greater than myself to restore me to sanity. But the real problem where I was stuck in 2002 is I could not make a decision to turn my will and life over to the care of God. I just had the hardest time doing that because I was so wrapped up into self, ego, pride, and grandiosity, which were the tools of my survival. I thought that's how I had to survive. I had no clue on faith, turning it over to a God. It was so foreign to me. It was so weak to me. And so when I left Betty Ford in 2002, I ended up relapsing and going back out into a very dark world.
Well, and I want to come back from our break and continue your story there. But everybody listening today, this is Michael's journey with alcohol and drugs, but we all have something that we can be addicted to. Maybe it's food, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's, sleep, whatever it is that we need to mask what's not right in our world. And we're talking today about believing, and a lot of times it takes getting through these hard times, the toxic environments, the behaviors that we do, to really find that belief in ourselves. So stay with us, Michael, you as well, and we'll be coming right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Today, it's all about believing. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way with just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about believing. And sometimes we need that so much to get us through the really hard times. And our inspirational guest today, Michael Mulvan, has definitely had to lean on his belief to get over and through and past times of addiction with alcohol and drugs. So we're going to jump back into our interview. Hello, Michael. Michael, can you hear me?
I'm back. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Wonderful. So, here's the thing, Michael. What I appreciate about you is you're so real and that you're telling us, really what happened and what you're emotionally facing. But after you were at Betty Ford, like so many people, we eventually feel like, okay, I got this. I can have another drink. I don't need the support groups anymore. I'm good. I'm good. I'm recovered. I'm well on my way. And that did work for you for a little bit. But then in 2009, so many things shook up your world. Can you share with us about that time?
I can. 2009, was the worst time of my life. And now today I look back at it and it was the best time of my life. I had a tragedy in my life with my wife and her health, a lost my business. I lost my family. I lost everything. And as a result of fear and resentment and anger and confusion, I went back to my old tools, and I went back to when I was 10 years old. And that day I was mowing the yard, and that first drink of alcohol came back into my mind, and I went back to my disease. I went into a full-blown relapse. I got in trouble, and that's when I started. The consequences of my choices got very, very dramatic, and I started the run of legal problems. I started where I was lying, stealing, cheating, and I was willing to do anything in the world to change the way I felt as a result of resentment. And so that's the number one offender. That's what kills drug addicts and alcoholics, is I didn't know how the tools to process it. And so then I ended up getting arrested and compiled 27 mugshots as a result of my choices.
That's a lot of mugshots, Michael. Now, I know that you were... Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, the thing is I know that you were respected in the community. You were out there. You were a luxury home builder. You were established. And it must have been embarrassing and defeating when those mugshots became public. And, I can appreciate wanting to hide and have that beer and cigarettes and drugs and just anything to numb that. But when you finally got to the point, you had a judge who was right there with you, trying to help you, trying to support you. But eventually that judge said, you know what, Michael, I have to put you in prison. You are going to be reckless to yourself. You're going to be reckless to other people. And then you were off to prison. But the interesting thing about prison is you were kind of bewildered by the fact that inmates were happy, that, they weren't stressed, but yet you were stressed. Now, they gave you a nickname in prison, the Rabbit, and why was that?
Well, they called me the Rabbit because I couldn't sit still. I mean, I would just pace and pace and pace and pace because my brain was going so fast and it was so busy. And they laughed because they would say, Rabbit, you're doing a really hard time. And I didn't know what they meant when they said that. And I had a cellmate, and we called him Ooh Wee. He was 76 years old at the time. And he told me, he goes, Rabbit, you're doing a really hard time, and the clock is going to go backwards on you. And I said, what are you talking about? And he says, you're out in that world. And when you're incarcerated and you're in a 4x8 jail cell, and all you're thinking about is what's going on in the world. And all I was thinking about was the future. And I would get in so much fear and anxiety. I didn't like that feeling, Nancy. So then I would go to the past. And when I would think about the past, I would think about guilt, shame, remorse, resentment, and anger. And I didn't like that feeling. So I was going back and forth in my head, not realizing that the safest place in the world was right here, right now, because that's where God's at. And that's all I had. And so how did I get to that point? Well, Ooey can't read. He was illiterate, and he asked me to read to him, and so I would read the Bible to him, and at the time it was just black words on white paper, and I would read the Bible to him, and I realized that 4 days went by, and I didn't even realize it. And what I learned from that is I got out of the world, and I got into the now, and for the first time in my life, I actually got out of self and was helping someone else. And and I never thought about drugs, alcohol. I didn't think about the future. I didn't think about the past. And I started really understanding how safe right here, right now is. And I realized that drugs and alcohol, that's what I was always chasing, was the now. I was always chasing that feeling of, and I could never get that in the world because I was addicted to visible things for my invisible problems.
And I think so many people go through that, and they're chasing ghosts essentially. And I'm curious, when you got out of prison about 4 years, what did you now have? How was your mindset different? So, we're always going to have hardships, right? You're going to have another one somewhere down the line. How are you going to be different? So you're not going to go grab a 6-pack of beer and cigarettes.
Well, that's a great question. The first thing that happened, I can answer that question now for the first time in my life. What's different now, Michael? What's different now, Rabbit? What's different now is that for the first time
in order for God to set me free, I had to set everyone and everything around me free. I had to realize that God gave me all the control in the world that I wanted for me to hit my knees and for everything to become completely out of control, for me to realize I never had control of anything in the first place. So I'm powerless over people, places, and things. And I had to accept that, the word acceptance. You know, true acceptance has no resentment. So today, what's different now is that when I get in fear, I have tools to use to get through fear. And the solution to fear is to talk about it, to talk to another man about it, to talk to a mentor about it. I have a sponsor that I run things by and say, listen, I'm in fear. I'm thinking about things. I'm out in the future right now, and I am in a lot of fear about finances. I'm in fear about my job. I'm in fear about that. And we talk through it and talk me off the ledge. Because in the past, I didn't think you were supposed to do that, and I felt weak, so I would drink and do drugs to try to feel powerful.
Well, and again, I think many people can relate to that. And, you know, I'm just curious. You have all this wisdom now. You know, it took a lot of bruises and bang-ups and sleepless nights and, you know, to get there. But if you could go back in time to that 10-year-old taking that first drink of beer, what would you say to him?
You know, I would say this. You know, it's you know, I get asked on a lot of shows, where does it start? And it really starts. I want to challenge all dads. All dads, we have a responsibility, and the greatest gift we can give our kids is time. And it's time for dads to take the dinner table back in the family. It's time for dads to be available. It's time for kids to be able to feel safe to come home and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm scared. You know, I'm in a lot of fear that I'm not prepared for this test." You know, and there's no repercussions. The dad will say, well, let's sit down and work through it. Here's a solution to it. You know, that's where I would go back to say, hey, if you're scared about something, you're in fear about something, okay, talk about it. And that's what I would say.
Yeah.
And that's the solution to all my problems today.
You know what? And that 10-year-old boy would probably agree with you, you know, because he too just wanted to be heard and wanted to be able to talk it out. So I get that. And there's, you know, people in our audience today, they may be dealing with a drug addiction. It may be dealing with alcohol. And sometimes it's that one glass of wine at night that becomes 4. And, you know, a lot of times there's shame around that. You know, they don't want to admit that they're an alcoholic. What would you tell those folks?
Well, the cliche thing is you reach out for help. But this, I'm gonna get a little deeper than that, okay? If you are a male and you think you have a problem with alcohol, find another male that is in long-term recovery. Get with that man and get honest with him. And that man, not only are you helping that man when you ask him for help, he will provide his experience, strength, and hope with no judgment. If you're a lady, get with a lady in long-term recovery. Recovery is not about getting good. We are not bad people trying to get good. We're sick people trying to get well.
I get that. And Michael, we just have a couple last minutes here. What does living full out mean to you now that the clouds have parted and you have this clarity?
What is that? Say that again. What is living what?
What does living full out mean to you now that you have this new insights?
I just, every day I just trust God, I keep my personal house clean, and I help others. You know, my goal is to love God with all my heart and to serve everyone around me.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Michael, so much for, you know, sharing your story. It had a lot of, you know, good lessons throughout that I think we can all take to heart. And, you know, we'll be sending you prayers and wishing you all the best and really appreciate you sharing your story.
What an honor. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, the thing is to believe in ourselves. It doesn't come in a snap. Okay, so if your belief meter is a little low right now, then you do exactly what Michael said and you turn to somebody in your life and be vulnerable and ask for help, or reach out to us here through the show, or confidentially you can email us at connect@livingfullout.com. We are your friend here to help you through the hard time. But the thing is to believe in yourself means that you weather the storm. You find tools, those support groups, those friends, to just get through it. But believe it or not, on the other end, life is good. It doesn't have to be that you own your own business. It doesn't have to be that you're married, that you have all these kiddos or anything like that. To be happy means that you can look in the mirror and be proud of who you are. High five yourself, wink at yourself. Be able to say, you know what, you've come a long way, but, keep going. Sometimes it's as simple as being our own best friend. So when we come back, we're going to be taking more of your calls and talking about how we can believe more in ourselves and others, just so we can move ourselves forward and really be happy and bask in all that this great life has to offer. So stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a
I
cold
want to
day.
be a football
I want to be
stadium.
a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to believing in yourself, I want you to think about closing your eyes. Envision the person that you want to be, and think about how you can make that a reality. Feel your hands, rub them together, feel that warmth, feel connected to your mind, body, and soul. That is how you step towards believing in yourself and living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about believing. And this topic to me is very near and dear to my heart because every year I come up with a mantra word for the year. And believe it or not, this year was believe. And, I like to choose that I believe in love. I believe in cures. I believe the good in people. I believe in my power to forgive. I believe that things are possible. And to me, it's not just a word. It's not this fleeting thought. When you say the word believe, I really want you to feel it. Feel the vibration when you say it, from your lips to your tongue. Try to connect that to your heart. Try to have your heart connected to your mind. And then pretty soon your body will kind of flow in a different way. To believe means that you feel it all throughout. And so just know that, we are here at Living Full Out to help connect those dots and to get you through those hard times when maybe you're lacking belief or you're worried that you're not able to believe anymore. We want to catch you when you're falling. So feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. It is a pleasure to be on your show.
Happy to have you. What's going on today? How can we help you?
So recently, I actually have 2 daughters. And, as a parent, I try to treat them equally to show some fairness. But sometimes my action towards a situation would result differently, and it would upset them. So I was wondering how I can have a sit down and explain to them why my actions are different in a situation without showing favoritism.
So if you're going to have that type of a conversation, it's best to pick 2 scenarios. So you have 2 kiddos, right? And you want to bring one scenario where maybe one is in the right and one is in the wrong, but then you got to balance it with another scenario where the one who had done something wrong in the other did something right, and the other could have been a little bit better, a little bit stronger. I think if you're going to go into a conversation like that, you're going to have to find some balance. Now, one scenario may be more sensitive, more disruptive than the other, but I think you want to go into it with balance. I also think that sometimes as a parent, even as a friend, as a coworker, whatever our role is in connecting with others in our lives, I think when you can share a relatable example. So again, let's say you go into this meeting with 2 scenarios in mind, one where each of your kids has done something good and one where each of them could be better. And then I think you bring your own story to the table. So it kind of allows them to relate to you. So let's say in example A, one did something right, one did something wrong. Then you want to be able to relate to them. You know what? I too went through my times where I pushed back or I was defiant, or, you know what? I too went through times where, I did the right thing and it made me feel good. So it's now coming up with a scenario A, a scenario B, but also a scenario C and maybe D, where you can share with them stories of your childhood, how you grew up, so they can see that, Mom gets us. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And I really believe if you build that atmosphere, that conversation, then there's no winners. There's no losers. Everybody's on the same playing field. But it's going to kind of come up with finding the right examples before you have the meeting. Okay? But I appreciate you calling in. Absolutely believe in you. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the advice.
You got it. And for everybody listening today, just like that last caller, it's hard sometimes, right? We get to these times in our life where we're not sure, am I going the right direction? Maybe you feel like you're going in circles. The thing is, when you believe in yourself, when you know that, good things are deserving of yourself, when you know that what you've built, is of substance. And again, it's not that everybody has to go to the 10th power. It's not about having a business, having the perfect relationship, because I'm here to tell you that there is no perfect in the world. In fact, we've all heard the saying, beauty is in the flaws, right? That is exactly true. So I definitely believe in all of you. Feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. We got Rich and John and Gio and Riley and so many people that just want to make sure that you are living your truth and on purpose. Feel free to go to livingfullout.com to hear this episode again, or check us out on Alexa or the app stores. Just look out for Living Full Out Radio. Most of all, here's to you living full out. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.